How's that for a good picture? I say, I had the camera running when I thought it was turned off, so you had a long view, and I went out and looked at my front fender area that don't look too good. Not as bad as I thought, but it'll probably pop out, but I'd still prefer not to do that. Thank you very much. Anyway, there it is. Back up a little bit. Give you another view of it. But I gotta get going here. Yeah, there it goes. See, way down there. This time we're not going to go. I said this time we're not going to go too close to the wall and dent my plastic fender up there in. I'm going to do a U-turn here and get back on the road. I don't see anybody coming the other direction. I hope like hell that's the case. Here we go. I've been up here in the past when it was raining, and you could just watch the rocks. Well, you can see, you can imagine how they come flying down here. Watch the rocks come flying, rolling down the hill. So you probably don't want to be too close to the edge here when it's raining up here, I tell you. Another great view you can see way out there, all the way over to Mexico easily. Picture's a little crooked here, it looks like. Well, if nothing else I've learned this trip, it's hard to do several things at once. In other words, I come out here looking for gray-banded king snakes, which is a thing in itself. You gotta be up at night doing it primarily. You gotta watch for the game wardens, the evil game wardens, usually evil. I think they claim that they're just misunderstood, but I think they're evil at heart, or some of them are. So if you're going to do that, it's hard to also do insects like I do with and for Dave, which I enjoy doing. But setting up the lights is a big deal. And then doing photography, you know, either this with the iPad or with my big camera, my 5D Mark II, which I did almost nothing of. Because it was just hard trying to get all these things going on. Because if you're out at night, you know, looking for snakes until 3 or 4 or 5 in the morning, then you aren't getting up until noon, and there's a certain amount of personal maintenance you got to do. You got to gas up the car. You got to get the food ready for the meal for the next day. You got to prepare for the meals at night. You've got to check the weather and find out where you're going to be at from time to time. Just a lot to do. I always thought I'd have time to sit and read and do this and do that. I didn't have time to do nothing. I was always busy, always falling behind. Something needed to be taken care of. The insects needed to be maintained if I want to get them back alive. Not all of them do I want to have alive, but some of them I do. The grasshoppers and the tarantulas and the snakes I've got. I don't know how many snakes I've got with me this time. I've got a big bull snake. It's over 6 feet long. He's a monster. I got 3 milk snakes, 1 pair plus a female. I got 3 Trans-Pecos rat snakes, a pair plus a female. I've got 3 tarantulas. I've got my pride and joy, the gray-banded king snake that I in fact found, which is what I've been looking for 7 years. But who's counting? What else have I got? Oh, I have a little baby Trans-Pecos rat snake. A little hatchling. It's about 8 inches long that thinks he's, I don't know what, but he's real ferocious and tries to bite anybody who gets near him. So, like I say, there's just always lots to do. And the snakes, you really got to make sure that they're within a good temperature range. Otherwise, you know, you're going to get back and you're going to have dead snakes, which is not what anybody wants, especially me. that I want to visit with people, like I did Tommy and his wife, which were real nice. She cooked great meal, probably the best meals I've had all month. You know, I went to Snake Days, the symposium in Sanderson, and that was nice, and getting to meet some people you only see or hear about on the internet. Then you got to drive from place to place. You got to keep contact with the people back home. You know, calling Carol and calling Dave Katz and making sure that Carol's doing okay. And you know, I'm going to back up here a minute. There's a real nice vista view, which I don't have time to do, but you know, if I don't get a picture of it, I'll be wishing I had all year. So it just is what it is. You can see a car coming toward me, but I'm going to turn in before he gets here, I think, and hope. Yeah, he's coming in, but I'll turn before he gets here. Just to show you the vistas up here, there's a little turnaround area where you can sort of see like an oversized parking lot, essentially. You can see they're really pretty, and they're nicer now than usual because we've had more than normal rain, I think, for here. I've never really been down very far. Oh, it does say no RVs, so I think I'll not go down there. I'd like to, but if I was with Dave or somebody else, Tommy or somebody else, I might do it, but by myself, I'm a little weary. Can't even get the whole scene in here, get the top of the cliff area. Look at those cliffs, though. Beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. And I'm having to tweak this camera and steer with one hand and watch for traffic and the like. Get back on the road here. And right along here, this is the bottom of the big hill. This is the primest area, so I've been told, for gray banded king snakes on the river road. I wish I'd done that many years ago when I used to drive from one end to the other. And see lots of snakes, but not the gray bands. If I'd known, I probably would have had more than I have now, but I guess you have to live and learn. Another car. Looks like tourists from New Jersey or something. But all along here is ground zero for the snakes of which I seek. A little turnaround here, which I'm going to utilize to show you the vistas on the other side of the road and the other side of the Rio Grande. Give you an idea. Look at that. Really beautiful up there. One can only guess the number of mountain lions. God only knows what's up there. Bears. God only knows what. And there's the way we came, of course. I'm going to do a U-turn. I can see in my rearview mirror there's no one coming. So I can't even get them all on this side. It's too tall. Real pretty along here. Again, they've had more rain than usual. You can tell those big stringy-looking long things you see up there. I can point one out to you. I don't know. Okachia plant. with the long stringy things that stick up 6 and 8 and 10 feet high, depending on how green or not green they are and flowering and the like, will tell you how much rain that they've had. I learned that from my friend Barry. Here's Panther Canyon, and between where we just were, bottom of the big hill, and here, is supposed to be the primest of areas, but then along here as well, this next couple miles, because if you could see to the right, which you can't, I realize, it's just a straight, there's a creek bed, and then there's just a huge, when we get a chance to turn around, do a U-turn here to the right, I'll show you what we've got on the side, but it's pretty rough. There's kind of a gully down there now, you can sort of see, but it's a little rough. Here's a flat spot coming up, flatter. I'm going to do a little U-turn there so you can sort of see what we're looking at up there. I can't even get it all, I don't think. Yeah, look at that. Now can I get turned around and... Yeah, the Okauchee is right in front of us. When we back up, you'll see it. Big, long, stringy things. Depending on how green it is, yeah, you can see them there on the bottom left of your screen. Yeah, there they are right there. Back up and around here. Of course, there's Mexico over there. Doing a U-turn here in the middle of the road. Probably breaking 15 laws in Texas, probably executionable laws. Let's see what we got here. Go back around here. This flat spot. Hopefully we won't bottom out too badly. Now we're going to proceed forward again. There we go. That's just where we were. Now we're back on track again. And all along here, like I say, is where some claim, Rick Blair and the like, claim the majority of gray bands were found. I found mine. I didn't take the reading, and I may recognize the spot. Uh-oh, hang on a minute. I don't know why it does that. All of a sudden it goes out of focus. Hopefully it didn't go out of focus for very long. Yeah, again, trying to steer with one hand and make sure this is in focus is a little dicey here. But I don't know why nothing was moving the last couple of nights, but it was snake-wise, it was dead. There wasn't a single solitary thing out here. And between these two hillsides right here, right in here, I think this is where I got that lepidus, that rock rattlesnake. This is ideal terrain for him. If you look on the right, that real rocky stuff up there, wherever you generally will you find rock rattlesnakes, you find you know, it's lepidus rattlesnakes, you find gray-banded king snakes because they like similar terrain. Wow, look at that over there. Look at that. I'm sorry I keep ranting and raving about it, but it really is just spectacular vistas and landscapes up there. And there, again, there's no telling what lives up there. I imagine that there's a whole battalion of mountain lions up there. I don't have any doubt. There's a ton of them up there. I can't believe that they're shooting them the way they are in Texas. What are they? I'm speechless. I don't know why they think this is the thing to do. I don't know. Texas, like, just, you know, the land of the clueless and the stupid, I guess. I'm sure they have some reason. It comes down to money somehow, that they get more money for people hunting bighorn sheep if they can kill off all the mountain lions, so that there's more sheep for the people to pay $60,000 and $80,000 to shoot. I think that's probably the bottom line. You can see down there where the road goes, and I've been up and down along here 100 times in the last 3 weeks. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. All along here. And the majority of the time I didn't see nothing. I guess I passed the spot where I got mine. I know that it's 9/10 of a mile from the bottom of the big hill. I'm going to do another little U-turn thingy here to show you the other side again. I hope you aren't getting bored. Now look at that out there. Look at that. God, you can see for miles and miles out there. I'm going to do another little U-turn thing here so you can see what it looks like across the road. What you can't see from here is at the bottom, below the grass. You know, it's across the road. Below that grass it's blowing, you see, it goes down. Well, it goes out about 50 feet. Then it goes down, and the Rio Grande's down there at the bottom, which is what cut its way through all that rock up there over the last 5 million years, whatever it is. Look at that. Look at those vistas up there. Look at that. God, so nice. We drove along through the desert here. A little iffy, but it looks pretty flat here. As he drives through some cactus of unknown origin or the like. Look at that across the way. Look at that down there. Just beautiful. And again, the more rain, the desert really comes alive when it gets a bunch of rain. Blooms, and you see a lot more. But they've had such a drought the last 3 or 4 years that it really is going to take it a while for it to come back. It's going to need a few wet years to really come around. They've had a bunch, but they were so far behind that it just took a bunch just to bring a lot of the stuff back from the brink of being completely barren out here. Even now, if you look out, I don't know if I can get out there or not without driving over a cliff. If you look at hillsides, maybe over here on the right side up there, all that yellow you see. I'm gonna swing around up here and you can sort of see. If you look at that hillside out there, all that, those little yellow things that you see out there, that's all dead cactus. I can't go too far, I'll go over a 60-foot cliff. Ugh. Yeah, let's not go too far. But look up there, man, oh man. I'm gonna try to back up and do it. I cannot go forward. There's a sharp cliff in front of me, probably a couple 100 feet down, and I don't think I want to do that with me or my new truck, or new-ish truck. I'm gonna back around like I did before again. There's nobody out here, which is nice. Get the stupid sign out of my way. Yeah, look down there. And out there. Yeah, there's Okachia right there on the right. That stringy stuff. You turn back the way I came. And there's a substantial cliff here. So I cannot go all the way around because I will end up at the bottom of the gully, never to be seen or heard of again. Seriously. It could be a while before they found you down there, boy. Here and not go over the cliff. But look, if you can see down there, you see over there? I don't know if you can see down there or not. Back on the road. East Rancheros, kind of a landmark spot. And next comes, I believe, is Closed Canyon, where I set up the bug light one night, pretty much to no avail, because it was so windy. And then after that comes West Rancheros, and then some private camping group thing. What do we get to? I forgot what we get to. We get to some other spots too, but I can't remember. I don't usually go out too far out here. Because if you really want to find the snakes you want to really target your area. It's almost 2 o'clock. I've spent a lot of time doing this video, and here comes another car. Dips go up and down. My friend Chad Whitney from Kansas, when he was up here about a week ago, saw the mountain lion in one of these dips a little bit further up here. But it was early. He said it was up close and personal, and he was surprised at how big it was. And Chad's a big dude. Chad's probably 6'5" and 280, big guy. He says the mountain lion was big. So if Chad thinks it was big, then I'm sure it was. You can see these dips come along here, and little washes is what they really are, where the water drains down from the hills and then just washes over the highway and then continues on over to the left to the Rio Grande. Try to get some more. Yep, here's Closed Canyon right here. Dip down and probably going to turn this thing off in a while. I can feel it's in the sun and it's getting hotter, and I'm probably burning up my gigabyte space, but it's okay. This is the most important part along here. Yeah, look up ahead there how that road goes. Whoa. Yeah, over here on the left with this really rocky hillside that comes right down to the road, to me should be ground zero for gray bands for sure. Because they're coming down from this on the left to look for grill steaks on the right and vice versa. And the road cuts right into the rock hillside. Over here on the left over here, if I can get these rocky cliffs up there in there. Yeah, in years since past, I've walked in some of these canyons up here in the day. Very interesting. Probably a little on the dangerous side. I wish I had gotten it together to do more of it this year. Maybe next year when Lamar comes out, we can walk some of them. Probably the time to do it would be in the evening, because it's about 30 degrees cooler. And having somebody else to do it with. If you fell, you twisted your ankle, or you had some situation down here, you could die out here in no time at all. So it's probably better to do it with somebody. And the older I get, hopefully at least a little bit wiser I get, maybe. Yeah, look across here. Now down here is where people put their boats in, down in that area where you can't quite see it. They turn into I'll drive in there real quick. I see people putting their boats in there all the time. Yeah, Colorado Canyon River access. And the river's right here, you'll see. Yeah. Whoa, there's a new sign. It even looks brand new. Look and see what it says there. It says, you see it there? You have to back up a minute. You can see it. There we go. It says, up to $5,000 fine for crossing the border other than a point of entry. In other words, you could walk across. If you look back up here to show you. Right over right there. I can't get it right over there. There it is. There's the, you see the water out there in the middle right side-ish of your screen, and that big clump of greenery. You could wade across there. That water doesn't even look 6 inches deep, and you'd be in Mexico. You go over there and you come back and they find out you are in big trouble. You are in mucho trouble, more than you want, I assure you. I'll try to do a little U-turn here so you can sort of see the rocky hillside there. All that big hill in front of you, that's all Mexico. And right down there on the right bottom-ish edge of your screen is the Rio Grande, all 6 inches deep of it, where you could easily walk across. There's the do not sign. They're big on those in Texas, do not. Those rocky cliffs up there, man, oh man. I'm not sure I can get them in here. I'm going to try. They're getting my own land. It's a little dangerous here. This being a weekday, you could have somebody come flying around that corner there. Go up around here. I don't know if I can get it over there or not. I want to pivot the iPad around, maybe if I could get a. All along here is where I always see black-tailed rattlesnakes. I've probably seen half a dozen of them in here. I got one in this video I got a couple weeks back that was along in here. I got one here last year that I gave to Lamar, and I've seen several others besides those along here. Look up ahead, you can see the Rio Grande there. And the Rio Grande's right there next to us. You can't quite see it. And I can't get the camera turned enough of an angle for you to be able to see it. Maybe up here I can do it. But I can't see around these corners, and it's a little dangerous. Well, it's down there anyway. I'll take my word for it. And these rocky hillsides that come right down to the water. Oftentimes I used to see javelinas down here and back a little ways, I used to see the donkeys, which I heard that they were also shooting. I don't know what Texas boneheads. I'm speeding up now because I really need to get going, one, and I'm probably getting near, I'm afraid I'm getting near the end of my hard drive space. Whoa! Really a low dip here. A couple of these. Let's see here. Here's a little lookout point, which we're not going to look out at this time. I've eaten lunch or dinner out there in the past. It's nice. A little desolate, but you look down there, there's not much down there. It's just pretty hot and dry, and it's a nice view. And here's the Tabadeau Bridge, I think is how they pronounce it. Let me see when we go by it. That's sort of the end of the Gray Band area. They used to talk a lot about the windmill, which we'll go by here in a second before I shut the camera off. Maybe I don't think I passed it, I may have. And then up here we come to the little town of Rutherford and Presidio, and then I cut up north there. And that's kind of grassy up in there. I'll check and see how much video time I have left. Maybe get a couple minutes of that if I have any space left. Down here again is where I always used to see the Javelinas, the peccaries, wild pigs, covered with black fur. And I'd see burros, wild burros and the like. Other animals too, maybe. There's the, well, we just went by it. Okay. The windmill, which is sort of the, people talk about the landmark, that's what they turn around at. And up here you come up to Presidio and you start getting some ranches and some little farms up here on the left. I'll probably shut this video off before we get there. Maybe we'll do a few more dips up here. Yeah, we'll do a couple more dips. We can keep the pedal to the metal here. I really need to cover a lot of territory between here and Tucson tonight. And I don't like coming in too late to Jack and Courtney's house. Somewhere out here is where, whoa, is where Chad saw the mountain line, I think. Let's see if I see any landmark. Well, it's a ways. I see a car way up there. I'm going to go ahead and, I think, shut this off in a second. More dips here, yeah. When it tells you it's a dip after all those others, you know it's going to be a deep one. They didn't tell you about the last 6 of them that you went down that were pretty substantial. So if they tell you there's one coming up, you can be sure it's going to be real deep and hard like that. Oh, yeah. We got company up here. Look looks like tourists, I hope. Not federales or El Policio or Border Patrol or Game Warden or Sheriff or, you know, take your pick. It looks like somebody, I don't know. What do we got here? There's something going on up here. Oh, just tourists. Okay, good. 3 groups of tourists. Tourists are easy. We like tourists. Okay, you can see the road up here. Look how it dips. Yeah, up and down. Again, little washes through here. And when it rains up here, you get a substantial amount of flash floods. So you got to be really careful. I didn't understand about flash floods until, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago when I was down here and they had a bunch of rain. And I was amazed. A lot of these little dry creek beds that look like they haven't had any water in them in 50 years became roaring rivers in about 45 minutes. So I have a real respect now for them. Yeah, up here is our first farm. See, it says flood gauge. That should be a wake-up call that you need to be paying attention. Yep, here's the first little farm there, that little red thing on the right. And I want to shut this camera off. Now, I think the only thing I've ever found out here was rattlesnakes and suboxes. Transpicos rat snakes, and again, like I say, and rattlesnakes. Other than that. So when we crest this hill and go down the other side, I'm going to go ahead and shut this off until a later date. Hope you've enjoyed the travel log that we've prepared for you today. Oh, look at that dip. And if you have any comments, suggestions, ideas, by all means, pass them along to me, and I will take them under advisory and make the next video I make better. Okay, that is it. God, look at these dips. Gee, many Christmas. Okay, that's it. Thanks. Bye-bye. Well, it's now 10 minutes to 4, and I'm heading back. Let's see if this is going to be lined up correctly or not. I have my suspicions it's going to be off. Let's see what we got here. Yep, it's off. Again. See how that's going to do. Like I said, it's 10 minutes to 4. I'm packing it in for the night. I'm leaving Closed Canyon now, where I had the bug light set up. That was another bust. It was so windy, I think there were 6 bugs there in 2 hours. So we're going to head home here and see how this goes. Those 2 hot spots may... I don't know if they're going to be detrimental or not. If I change my lighting, yeah, it's harder for me to see and it's harder for the iPad to see as well. How about if we do this and turn these off? How would it be? Not really very good. I'm going to put them back on. It's a little hot in the middle, on the sides, but it's okay. Only when we hit these dips and the lights are real close to the pavement does it burn it real bad. When it's far out in advance, it looks like it works okay. Okay, like I say, it's 10 to 4. I wanted to be long ways closer to being back than I am now, because it probably takes about an hour to get back. all I've seen tonight was a long-nosed snake, one subox, one atrox, and one night snake. Kind of slow, really. And of course, right after I turned the camera off, I saw the long-nosed snake, but it is what it is. Maybe we'll see something on the way home. I would be surprised if we did not see something on the way home. At least an atrox. But where we are now is kind of gray band territory, so I don't want to go too fast and miss anything. But I also want to get home as soon as I can and go to bed. But I guess we'll compromise and take it slowish. You know, at least through the better gray band area, which is really on the far side of it. We'll come into it better in a few minutes. Probably another, I don't know, 2 or 3 miles before we get to it. I don't know why I didn't move the iPad over in the middle of the windshield so I can actually see as I'm driving. Because now I can, you know, drive normally and the iPad can see as well. And I think also I have less car hood in the scene than I had coming out here. I think a third of the bottom of the screen was car hood. That's no good. So the way it is now, you see just the edge of it, and it sits more secure, and I can see. Gee, you know, a little bit of trial and error seems to have gone a long way here. I also only have one piece of duct tape holding the iPad to the windshield, and that's on the top. And that seems to work better as well. So, we're going to cruise along here, probably a little faster than normal. But I'm whipped, want to get home and go to bed. The earlier I get to bed, the earlier I get up, the longer my day is. There's other things I want to do. But while we're out here, we might as well make the best use we can. Watch for gray banded king snakes. Well, we'll watch for all snakes, but the gray bands, of course, is what we really want. And it's not inconceivable that we would see them. This area along here now is probably better than the area that we were in. So like I say, I'm going to go a little bit slower. And at this time of the night, I can probably relatively safely go up the middle of the 2 double yellow lines, because there aren't many fools out here at 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay, now where are my flashlights? There's my flashlight 1. There's my flashlight 2. And I got my snake stick in my lap. So if we have something that's hot, we can deal with that. It would really be nice to see one out here. It'd be nice to see one and then get it on film as I'm getting it. So let's see here. Keep our eyes open. said a little slow tonight. I thought it would be better. The wind's still blowing out there. So conceivably it could still be good. Even though the majority of them are caught hours earlier than this. That may be because there are more hunters out earlier than this. But even so, my friend Aaron says, nah, most of them are caught between, I don't know, 9 or 10 in the evening and, I don't know, 1 o'clock, and now it's like 5 minutes to 4. But they have caught them at this time of the night, so I guess all we can do is be hopeful and keep our eyes open. Maybe we'll see some javelinas. I saw some of those after I turned the camera off, of course. I also had a visit from the relatively nice sheriff of Presidio County. Talked with a thick Latino accent. And I'm not sure he really understood what I was doing out here, which is okay. I showed him the iPad and the movie I'd shot earlier in the evening, and he kept saying, "Oh, very nice, yes, very nice." So, and he didn't give me any grief. He first came to see why I was stopped at the bottom of the big hill. I was actually texting Walter. I knew it wouldn't go through, but I wanted to get the text done and tried anyway. It seemed to, and then it pooped out. But I have it in there, and when I get to Studi Butte, the intersection of the River Road FM 170 that we're on now, and 118, the road that goes all the way from the entrance to Big Bend National Park all the way up to Alpine. I'll get service there, and I'll probably stop and, well, I don't know. Yeah, I'll probably stop and send Walter the pictures of this iPad setup that I got taped to the windshield that I did earlier. And I took pictures with my regular iPhone, so I can very easily email those to Walter or anybody else for that matter. Okay, here we go. I'm not sure what we're going to get here. It looks pretty slow. We should see something, I would hope. I filmed all afternoon this morning, or earlier today, and there at the spot that I got my gray band at 2 weeks ago. Got probably just a mile before we get to the big hill. And we're not seeing any snakes. Not surprised. We think that we would see something along here. Here comes the last bridge we come to before we go up the big hill going from west to east. Of course, back to Wild Horse Station where I'm staying, and I always stay whenever I come out here. But we ain't seeing nothing. Disappointed. Okay, we're climbing the big hill slowly but surely. We just crossed the bridge. I think we crossed the bridge. What do we got up here? Yeah, it'd be nice to see something. I mean, live, like javelinas or snakes or mice or kangaroo rats or maybe the mountain lion that I saw on the other side of this hill last year about this time. That would really be nice. Let's see if he's going to cooperate or not and come out and smile for the camera. Uh-oh, the iPad looks like it's wanting to pull off of there because we're going up such a steep grade. Hoping it ain't going to fall. Let's see what we got. No, it's taped up there good. It's just swinging a little bit because our incline is so great. I'll put my fingers against the bottom, which will hold it in place. And we should only have that problem on the way up this hill. I don't think we'll have it anywhere else. There's the top of the big hill, and now we're headed down here about somewhere right about here is where I saw the big cat. Let's see. I think it was around one of these bends. He was all of a sudden right there staring at me, about 50 feet away. I was safely in my truck. He kind of looked at me, switched his tail once, and went bounding up the hill on the left side of your screen there. You can't really see it because it's dark, like it usually is at night. Boy, we ain't seeing nothing. Maybe we'll see something on in the flats, i.e. Fresno Flats up here, where I usually see suboxes and atroxes and the like. I saw one of each on the way home last night. It's getting late enough for the atroxes to come back out because it's getting near morning. There go the teepees on the right, and you can't see them because it's dark. We're going to go across the Madera Canyon Bridge up here, and that's sort of the beginning of the Fresno Flats area. Oftentimes I see Trans-Pecos rat snakes and rattlesnakes some, but more Trans-Pecoses, i.e. suboxes. So we will look and see. Oh, I'm tired. It's now 5 after 4. Long way to go. Whether this camera's in focus or not. Let's see if it'll get in focus. There it goes. Let's see if it'll hold that focus. Now it wants to wobble up there, I don't know why. I guess that's better than it was, though. Also along in here, well, maybe a little bit further up, is where I oftentimes see the javelina pigs, the peccaries. I've only seen a few of them tonight too, but they may be more down toward Lajitas, another 3 or 4 miles from where we are now. Yeah, it looks pretty quiet out here tonight. I'm sorry to say. I'll be very surprised if we get all the way to Lajitas, which is sort of the first part of civilization up here. In a few miles, if we've not seen either a Trans-Pecos or a Western Diamondback, and or some of the javelina pigs. As you can see, we've speeded up a bunch now. house. Sort of maybe given up on seeing any snakes. You know, anything's possible, but, you know, we're not seeing anything, so I don't know. I mean, really, anywhere from here all the way to my front door up at the Wild Horse, you know, snakes could be seen, suboxes or atroxes, you know, and the like. Oh, there went a bunny. He hangs out around here and wants to race the car sometimes. But boy, we ain't seeing nothing. I know if I turn this thing off, as soon as I do, I'll see something. This should be Fresno Creek. What's it say here? Yeah, Fresno Creek. And up here, this little plateau area again is where I oftentimes see suboxes and the like. Nothing. Wow. Well, there's stuff out here. I don't know why it didn't come out tonight. Sort of like last night and the night before. I guess tonight was a little better than last night. But not by very much. Now Thursday, and I'll be out here again tomorrow. But then Friday is when my friend Tommy Hardaway and his wife come on in from Louisiana, so I'll probably spend some time with them and maybe out here. I have to see, I don't know. Saturday night. I'm not sure what I'll do, because that seems to be when the game warden's out here giving these bogus lame tickets just to scare people and harass them. Well, that's what he's done the last 2 Saturdays anyway. Or he was out 2 and skipped 1, whatever. So I may or may not be out here on Saturday night. But I'll be back on Sunday night. I think Tommy said he was going to leave on Monday morning. I could leave then, or I could leave, you know, Tuesday, or if I wanted, I guess. Just ran those by Carol, and she didn't seem to give me any grief. So, but again, if it's slow or I get tired, which I am, and weary doing this, then I may just take off on Monday, which was the original plan, actually. But I like to give myself some leeway if all of a sudden it's good, or somebody I know shows up, or the like. The last 3 days have been pretty slow. I would have thought that they would have been better, especially tonight. See, I sped up a good bit. I'm down doing about 45 miles an hour. I'm not sure one could safely do much more than this. And I've got one hand holding the iPad bottom steady so it doesn't bounce around, and steering with the other hand. Not the ideal, but it seems to be okay. So if I don't hold this iPad tight against the dashboard carpet, it seems to bounce around. Let's see here. I just let go of it. We'll see how it does. I guess if we're relatively flat, it seems to be okay. Oftentimes along here, I don't know why, I mean the river's just down to the right there, about 100 feet. And on the left side is a rocky hillside, but I oftentimes find rattlesnakes along in here. But if it's raining like it was that one year, then you'll get a whole bunch of night snakes, and also copperheads right along here. As a matter of fact, right there, I think, is where I got my misunderstanding with the copperhead 3 years ago, or whatever it was. Right along here in this grassy area, because those hills on the left are all mud, so when it rains, it's always real sloppy and muddy down here. And so down in here is really where you find more pit-gassers. Last night along here, I found a sub-ox and an can't even say it now, a western diamondback, both right along here inside 15 minutes of one another. I don't believe there's not a single thing. Boy, that's odd. Usually you see something along here. Javelinas, an atrox for sure. We ain't seeing nothing, boy. Last night, as I was going between Lahidas and Terlingua, which I think is 17, 18 miles, I did for the first time get stopped by the Border Patrol, Homeland Security. I'd had a nice little chat with him for a few minutes. I mean, some years they stop you 2, 3, and 4 times every night. It's ridiculous. Sign here says Lahidas 1 mile, the park 50 miles. Usually right when we get into Lahidas, there's a border patrol sitting up there. He'll be to the right, upper right of your screen. And sometimes there's someone sitting in there, and sometimes there's not. And I wonder if sometimes when I go by and it appears there's someone sitting in there, if it's really a live person or a mannequin. So, hello. iPad was flopping all around there for a while. And at the top of this next hill on the right will be a Border Patrol paddy wagon vehicle, usually, or anyway. Right around the turn up here is where he sits. And you know what? I'm not seeing him. Wow. Oh, there he is on the other side of the road. So they maybe crashed for the evening. Oh, here comes somebody. Probably Border Patrol, but we'll see. They're coming fast, wherever they are. If it's Border Patrol, they'll probably do a U-turn and then follow me and pull me over, but we'll see who it is. I mean, who else is up at 4:25 in the morning? Oh, they're pulling over. So then they can run me as I go by, I would guess. We'll see. Yeah, they pulled over to the side of the road waiting for me to pass them, and then they're going to get in behind me and follow me for a good number of miles and then pull me over and ask me if I'm a U.S. citizen and, you know, the usual rigmarole. They're stopped up here. High beams off and I'm well under the limit. If it's anybody with more authority. I'm tempted at this point just to pull over and say, you know, let's just do this now and get it over with, but I won't. Yep, it's Border Patrol, and now, according to my theory, they should be pulling out and Let's see. Oh, they went the other direction. Ho ho! Good deal. Good deal. Maybe I can avoid that little trip this evening. Yeah, they went the other direction. Whoa-ho! Maybe it's one of the guys who's already stopped me this year. Yeah, I'm really tired. Yeah, I put the lights back on there, so I can see better. Oftentimes you see sub-oxes along here too. Sometimes rattlesnakes, but usually sub-oxes. I'm tired. Jeez, it's 4:30, almost 4:30. Should be home in bed. Yeah, I turned this camera off, but I know as soon as I do, I'm going to see something that's going to be worth seeing. But I have sped up, and I'm not doing 55 miles an hour. Yeah, I always hate this long haul back to Wild Horse from the River Road. Like I say, it takes probably almost an hour to get back there. Boy, am I tired. Looks as if we've been filming now for about 42 minutes, which seems about right. I may step it up a little bit. It's safe to do so and legal to do so, and I'm tired and want to get back. get up here, I'm going to pull over and send that text. Well, those two photos of this iPad glued iPad taped to the windshield. I'm going to send a text out, text picture of that to Walter and maybe to Kirk too. I have to remember to do it, but I'm getting really tired. I always dread this long haul back. There went a rabbit. I don't know if you saw it or not. Yep, there was a snake. There was a rattlesnake. Let's turn around and get that sucker on film. I figured we were going to say, I was just about to say, I don't ever remember making this trip and not seeing at least one. He'll be in the middle of our screen here, folks. Right up. Where'd he go, the little beggar? There he is right there. See him in the middle of the screen? Oop, I don't want to get too close. I mean the wrong way in the wrong lane. I have to back up in case I get company here. Looks like a little Western Diamondback, but I'll go over there and harass him and get it in the screen so you can see. I may flip him over into our lane. let's try this again. I've got the iPad taped both to the windshield and my dashboard. I can't believe it's legal, but what do they say in Texas? Anything's legal as long as you don't get caught. Something like that. Or was that New Jersey? Whatever. I'm still taping it up there. But I should think this would work pretty good. This looks like it could be great fun tonight. It seems pretty damn secure. Yahoo! And I can drive and I don't have to hold it. This is working out great so far. Let's see how it goes. I wonder if I tipped it down more, if I would get a higher percentage of roadway. But we'll try it like that for a while. No telling what you can do when you have a roll of duct tape. Yahoo! Well, off we go. Once I put it in drive, I can actually see it as we drive along, as a matter of fact. Cool. This is working great. I should have done this days ago. All I got to do now is remember to keep my windshield clean. Yeah, no telling what we'll see tonight. I wonder if I could pause this and only hit the play button while hit the play button when something interesting comes on the screen, like some Cavallina wild peccaries or deer or the burros, which I used to see, but now someone tells me that the rangers in their infinite wisdom have been shooting. I don't know about the game parks and wildlife people here in Texas. I don't somehow see eye to eye with them for the most part. If you look over here to the left, it's really pretty over there. I wish I could turn a little bit more, you could see more. But it's nice and green. Usually it's not this green along here. In these low spots, when they get a fair amount of rain, it doesn't take much for it to be a flash flood down through here. Now up here around this bend, we're going to come to the teepees, kind of a landmark for people, for as far as distance to and from the teepees and the like. Something was back there on the road. I don't know what it was. I'm tempted to go back and look and see what it was. I think I will. Now if I can just go in reverse and not run over it, which is another trick. It may have only been a piece of grass, I don't know. Whatever it was, I don't see it anymore. It was something small in the middle. Maybe it's just a piece of grass. That's the problem when you get a nice breeze, is you have a lot more incidency of grass blowing onto the roadway that you think are things other than grass. So anyway, like I say, around this corner here and down, we have to go down over the Madera Creek Bridge, and then at that point we come onto a low area and we'll get into the teepees, which are actually a little camping, not overnight, but a picnic area at the bottom of the quote-unquote big hill, which is a major landmark out here in people talk about this side or the other side of the big hill. The other side of the big hill is where I've been spending my time this trip for the most part, because according to several knowledgeable sources, the majority of gray band king snakes are found on the other side of the big hill. I suspect that there's probably also a lower incidence of Texas Parks and Wildlife people. Oh, okay, I guess we're still got a couple hills to go before we get to the teepees, but it's coming up. Gotta go around a couple more bends, I guess. I thought I was closer to them than I am. But it looks as if the picture quality on the screen there is holding up good. I wonder how my battery's doing, and if I could be plugging in the battery at the same time I'm playing the screen. I bet I can. And I think I'm going to check that out here in a minute. Maybe I'll wait until we go around the bend, then down the hill and go past the teepees to the top of the big hill before I mess around with our good picture here. This seems to be working out quite well. I'm going to try to get a still camera picture of this setup, if I can do that and drive and the like all at the same time. Okay, I've got my little point and shoot in my hand. I'm going to get a picture of this setup for posterity, so I remember in the future how I did this. Yeah, there's the big hill in the foreground, which we'll be climbing here momentarily. That sort of did it, I think. Yeah, it shows how the iPad has been taped to the screen, or taped to the windshield. But we saw the flash firing. Yeah, up here is, like I say, Madera Canyon. You see the big hill is quite big. And there's the teepees over on the far left of your screen coming in. You may not be able to see them yet. But like I say, this is the notorious River Road. You got Big Bend State Park on the right. And I guess the other side of the road is I don't know what. And then you have the Rio Grande. And then the other side there, that dark rocky hills you see on the left behind the teepees, that's all Mexico. I was in this little turnout here, I don't know, a week or so back, waiting for my friend to come, and then all these, what I thought were raccoons, were up here by this yield sign, and there were more of them, and more of them, and more of them. And I finally cruised up there as the last of them were leaving, and there was a guy in a pickup truck. He said, well, did you count them? I said, no, what were they? I thought they were raccoons. He says, no, they were javelina, the wild peccary pigs that are out here, but there were 17 of them. I'd never seen, nor had he ever seen that many of them at the same time. Boy, this picture clarity is great. Oh, there's a javelina right there. There's two of them right there. If I can back up in time to get them. Let me see. I didn't even see them. They probably were on the screen. Let's see if I can get them while they're still there. They seem to hang out along here. Probably went up the hill. Oh, there's one right there. There they go. See them at the bottom of the screen? Back up a little bit more. There they go. And they're just sitting there. They seem to hang out by the water a fair amount. Oh, they're still down there. right at the bottom of the, in the middle of your screen. They're just staring at us. Now maybe if I go forward, I may lose them up. They just went on down the hill, but I may be able to go forward a little bit and see where they went to. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Very bottom left of your screen, but I guess they're gone. They went down there, but there's probably a couple of dozen of them down there, and we'll probably see more of them at night. But it was nice. You got to see a couple of them anyway. Sometimes you see groups of just 2 or 3, and sometimes you see groups of 6 and 8 and 10. Maybe not quite that many. I think those are family groups, and you see the males with the big tusks, and people say they won't hurt you, but I don't want to get out of the car and find out. Thank you very much. They can be obstinate, shall we say, and the males have got big tusks. Okay, here we're going up the big hill, and you can see it's pretty sheer on one side, and the other side I'll pull into this little turnout up here. We're getting the darker screen because we've got so much sky in here. I think I can get down in here and get some more. If I can get it to come in. There we go. Yeah, but you can't quite see down there. It's a long way down, Bubba. A long way down. I wish I could aim the camera down there. There's water at the bottom of the cliff down there. And there's usually water down there. But sometimes it's pretty shallow. I'm going to back up here a minute. I'm going to watch what I'm doing. Because you go over that cliff and it's a long way down. I'm going to turn. We've got a good breeze here. If you can see the bushes, which you probably can't quite see here, blowing. Now on the top of this big hill, I've seen what I thought were bighorn sheep. And a friend of mine corrected me and says, no, they're not really bighorn sheep. They're sheep that look like bighorn sheep that come from Africa that people brought here in the 1880s, and they escaped, and now they're sort of endemic to the area. But to unknowledgeable people like myself, they look just like bighorn sheep to me. But you can see these cliffs up here are pretty substantial. They go up and up and up. And it's quite pretty through here. And I guess they find a fair number of gray bands along here. The only thing I've ever found along here were black-tailed rattlesnakes. But generally, when you find rattlesnakes, particularly lepidus, rock rattlesnakes, little bitty rattlesnakes, you find gray bands. They inhabit the same rocky cliff mountainsides as do gray bands. So, like I say, I got it low here. It's still out. It's quite a drive up here. I got it low, and it still is chugging along. There we are, almost at the top. And I may stop this real quick and see if I can get that cord in there to be adding power, because I suspect that running this iPad, the thing is up here, the view is so nice. Let me see what we can do up here. If I can get, and this is the time of day to get it, and I won't get it for long. Anyway, there's sort of the view. As you can see, it's just a really beautiful place. I'm going to try to get this cord in here so I can be charging it. Looks as if I can do that right here, as a matter of fact. And I suspect that this is going to be, hopefully we won't lose it, but we'll see here if I plug this thing in. Okay, it's plugged in now. I don't know if it's charging. I would think so. The thing's plugged in. So anyway, down we're going to go because we'll lose the light in a little while, and I want to show you how pretty it is over here when I go around this turn here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a picture of this with my iPhone. Boy, it is blowing just real hard now. And since it's blowing before sunset, maybe that'll be the ticket to getting things moving tonight, snake-wise. Okay, we're heading down the big hill. I've been up here when it's been raining on the other side at the very top, looking down, and all kinds of rocks and stuff comes flying down this hill. It was scary, I tell you. Yeah, this is really beautiful over here. If I can get to the beyond over here and turn so you can sort of see. There it is. There's the view. That's the Rio Grande, and on the left of the river, that's all Mexico, and on the right is the U.S. So we're going to go on down while we have the light still. This is like the first time in the 8 or 9 days I've been here, both now and before when I was here with Barry, that I've been able to get it together, get out here during the daylight. And even though I know the road, it still is nice to get a good view and know what you're looking at and the like. We'll also go by the spot where I got my little grade band, which I think I can recognize in the day. I know it's 9/10 of a mile from the bottom of the big hill, which is what we're on now. See the big rocks up there ahead of us? Yeah, they come tumbling down fairly often. Whenever there's any kind of a rainstorm, the Texas Highway Department comes from Presidio, knowing that there's going to be something to clean up, scrape up, and the like. Okay. Yeah, all in front of us now, all that's Mexico. You can see up here because it's on the other side of the river. And the sun is just barely set, but it's okay. We can still see the land really well along here. Now this side, like I say, is the quote-unquote better side, or where they find that. Here's the bottom of the big hill, right here. And from here to some say 10, some say 5 miles out, and what's the direction that we're going, is the best area for gray bands. And the odometer now reads 38.1. And that's what it is from Wild Horse Station where I'm staying. But we'll go, some say it's only to the Panther Canyon Bridge, which I think is about a mile up here. It gets more interesting as we go along. I think the ideal habitat for the snakes that I seek, and many others seek, is that you want to have high rocky hills on either side. And then what you have is you have snakes traveling from one rocky area to the other. Primarily males looking for love, i.e. females. It's getting dark here. Let's see if we can get the picture quality better up here. Yeah, maybe so I don't know. We'll see. But all along here is supposed to be good, but on the right, you can sort of see over there. I can't really easily aim over there. I can a little bit, maybe. Maybe I'll pull over, try to aim the car in that direction. But you can get traffic along here that could be a little dicey. But if you look in this direction up here, you see there's high rocky. I'm going to go up this hill a little bit so you can see how high they are. Well, no, I'm not. The hill's a little too steep. We can try it a little bit more so you can sort of see. Nope, that's as high as we're going to go. Anyway. I wonder if I dug my lights in. Oh, shit. I wonder if I dug my... No, I couldn't have dug those in. You know, I'm going to go out and look a minute real quick. Real quick, though. I don't want there to be any dead time on this video. Hang on, right back. No, I didn't come close to getting the lights. And hopefully when I walked in front of the camera and waved, I was at the right angle and you could see me. Okay, let's go along up here. Get this while we can still see. I just put my headlights on, which, see, watch the little yellow line, little reflective dealies in the middle between the yellow lines. You're going to see them light up when I flip my lights on, watch. Yeah. So anyway, but all along here, this is Panther Canyon. Some say only from the bottom of the big hill to here, which is exactly 1 mile, is the best spot. But I think it would get real old just doing that 1 mile, you know, all night long. So I got mine. Let's see if I can find it up here. There's some rocks in the middle of the road that I laid out there that night, which was about a week ago. No, 2 weeks ago, coming up. I think the rocks will still be there, which is where I got mine at. It's important. People always want to know exactly where and what the temperature was and the humidity was and the date was and, you know, the like. That people get them, I guess, trying to figure out a way to predict when the little guys are going to be out playing for us to come find them. Maybe I don't think I passed it. Yeah, but you can see on the side of the far right bottom of your screen, the grasses are blowing pretty good. Again, that is the best thing you can hope for is a good breezy night. Now I know that tonight is also the dark of the moon. You know, where the moon is going to be at its darkest point all month tonight. And tonight is Wednesday night. Oh, I don't see my rocks, but maybe I passed them. I must have passed them because we've gone almost 2 miles now. I guess I passed them and didn't see it when I was doing it. But anyway, 3 nights ago, a friend of mine was down here, Chad Whitney from Kansas, and he came back toward me. I'm going west. He was coming east, and he told me that he saw the mountain lion up here in one of these dips that we'll be coming to in a few minutes. I saw the mountain lion 3 years ago on the other side of the big hill on the way down the other side, but it was like 2:45 in the morning. But he saw him early, like at 10:30 or 9:30 or something, which is surprising. But you see, you have canyons on either side here. You've got, yeah, the big hills ahead of us, and the big high, not quite as high, hills to my right. And the snakes, you know, transverse from one side to the other. And that's when we get to get a shot at them. But if you think about it, they're only on the road for, how long does it take them to cross? I don't know, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, something like that. And And if they aren't in your headlights during those 30 or 40 seconds that they're crossing, you missed it. So the name of the game is being able to go as quickly as you can along here, so you're covering as much ground as possible, but still being able to see them and not run over them. Now, Chad claims he can do it at 60 miles an hour. I think he's crazy. I think if you try to do it over 35 or 40, and I'm going almost 40 now, which is too fast, that you aren't going to see them. But if you go too slow, then you don't cover enough ground. So it's sort of a toss-up. Then the theory is, well, do the gray bands cross as often and as slowly as other snakes? Certainly, subox, Trans-Pecos rat snakes crawl across, but they're not in any hurry, because again, you see them here by the zillions all the time. Rattlesnakes cross all the time. They don't care. They have a built-in superiority complex, knowing that they pack a punch, so they don't move for anybody. So you see them crossing. But I can remember many people saying that when they saw their gray band, it was going along the edge of the road rather than across the road. Because I suspect gray bands, being shyer and more secretive than other snakes, may not be as enthusiastic about crossing the road as other snakes. So, and you can see that grass is really blowing on the right side bottom. It's really blowing pretty good, which is a good thing. And we're not really too early now to be seeing rattlesnakes out here. And but this year it's been really slow rattlesnake-wise. I can remember years in the past when you'd see 2, 3, 4, 5 of them a night. And now this whole trip, I think I've only seen 5, 6 maybe. So I don't know where they all gone to. Maybe the wetter weather keeps them in. I don't know. But clearly not as many as I've seen in the past. But again, it's not really too early, and I'd be surprised if we didn't go over a couple of these hills and not see one. You can usually tell them because they'll be stretched out full length. They're in no particular hurry to cross. They appear white against the pavement. If I see one, I'll stop, and he'll be laying across the road until he senses me and senses danger. Then he'll pull himself together into a little round coil and just sit there with a real bad attitude and just sit there coiled up. And they always do it just the same way every time, or at least western diamondbacks, the atroxes do, and I guess blacktails as well. But blacktails seem to be a little bit more patient or tolerant. Not quite so quick to become, well, bent out of shape and angry and the like. I guess that's probably true of the Lepidus rock rattlers too, of which I've only seen maybe 2 on here. I've got one little one that I caught here 4 or 5 days ago. It was so little, I don't even think it was 15 inches long. Probably not even 12 inches long. It only had like 4 rattles. I was able to safely pick it up with a pair of salad tongs that I normally would use for picking up scorpions or centipedes. That's how little it was. And it was also so little, I was even able to convince it to go into a plastic water bottle that I just happened to have on hand, so I didn't have to handle the little guy. But he was pretty small. He was pretty small. And so you don't usually see the Lepidus along here, but sometimes Sometimes. And again, when you see lepidus, you oftentimes see gray bands. Because they like the same kind of habitat for the most part. And we're traveling along here at like 40 miles an hour, which is about as fast as I generally go if I hope to see something on the road and not fly by it or hit it. If it was later at night, I would probably be more toward the middle of the road, straddling the double yellow line, because you can see traffic, a long way off. And even though we've only seen, I think, one car along here, it's early enough so we could get more traffic. In other words, the later it is, the less traffic there is. And I would feel safer doing it then rather than doing it now. And of course, if you straddle the middle of the yellow line, you're better able to see both edges better, which I think is important when looking for gray bands. We're going to go to the very end here in another few more minutes while we still have the light. You can see my headlights are putting out some. I'm going to switch over to my other lights and see if that, you know what, no I'm not, because this looks like it's nice even illumination out there. If I put those other ones on, I think I'm going to, okay, now the other ones are on, and here are the other ones with the spotlights, which creates a hot spot, which I don't want to do. So I'm going to go back to my regular high beams, my brights, which seem to be bright enough illumination for us for now. But over here on the left-hand side, where you see that gravelly area coming down to the road, and you can see to the immediate left as well, high cliffs that come right down to the road. This to me is ideal gray band neighborhood, because I like those rocky cliff areas. I'm surprised we have not seen an atrox along here, or a subox. Might be a little early for suboxes, but not for atrox. Atrox, i.e. western diamondback rattlesnakes, like all or most rattlesnakes, are dermal, meaning they like it an hour or two before sunset and an hour or two after sunset, which is i.e. right now at 9:10 in the evening. Here's West Rancheros, kind of a landmark. In a few miles we come to East Rancheros, and I think in between is Closed Canyon, or it might be after West Rancheros, which is where I'm going to set up. I think I'm going to set up Dave's bug light tonight and let that run while I cruise this road looking for other interesting things. Let's see what we got up here. You can see that over there on that far side along the river is really pretty. Oftentimes it's not all this green, but again, we've had a good amount of rain this year compared to other years. And the lights seem to be just perfect with the headlights on. You can sort of see either side. This is the perfect time of day. Now along here, if you look on the right side, you see big high cliffs. Oftentimes along here, ooh, a puddle. That's interesting. That means it's rained along here in the last few hours. On the right side, with these big cliffs that come right down to the road side, is probably why I see a fair number of black-tailed rattlesnakes, along here. And on the left side, at the bottom down there, is the Rio Grande. It's probably only 30 feet wide and about 1.5 or 2 feet deep. So it's not very deep. But as you see, well, our light's getting a little iffy along here. On the right side here, where the boulders come right up to the edge. I've seen several of all the blacktails that I've seen in Texas. I've probably seen 80% of them. Yeah, see the river up there ahead? Probably seen 80% of the blacktails that I have seen right along in here, because these rocky cliff sides on the right side of your screen come right down to the road. Oh, look at the wind blowing the dust across there. Wow. And a few minutes ago we had a long puddle that wasn't here last night. And to get that puddle like that means it has to have rained a good bit, probably real hard for a short period of time rather than a little bit for a long period of time. But having not been here 2 hours ago, I don't really know. But I do know that that puddle was not there last night. Yeah, these rocky cliff sides come right down to the edge. Now, if that Rio Grande were further back, or there were more rocks there, I suspect we would probably see more king snakes along here, because the gray bands are not fond of water. They're oftentimes found near and around it, but they don't particularly like it, the way like copperheads. Both the Pictogasser one here and the ones we have up in Missouri, the Osage copperheads. There's about 6 different varieties. The ones down here are called Trans-Pecos copperheads, under Y, and the Latin name is Pictogasser. And they like it back there. When I first came on to the river road, when I thought the video was running, and it wasn't. And instead of being rocks on the right side like we have here, by those 4 reflectors up there, all that rock, it was all mud. And that's what they really like, is to get down in the mud area and the wet, again, which is not what gray bands like. I'm going to speed up here a little bit so we don't really lose our light, which we're slowly doing. But you can still see the either side of the roadway. And I guess they find gray bands out here. I'd really like to see a map showing where the different gray bands have been caught along here over the years. I suspect that there are people who know, i.e. Troy Hibbets and Joe Forts, and somebody probably has some sort of a little survey map, but it's not available, probably to keep it from being requested by Texas Parks and Wildlife or even the National Park Service, because it can only be used, the way I see it anyway, against us. Oh, they're finding them here. This is where we should make it illegal, or whatever that they do to make it difficult for us. But I suspect there are people who know where the gray bands are more found along here on the River Road, i.e. FM Farm Market 170, which is what it's technically called, FM 170. And FM, which I learned, stands for Farm Market. We got these dips through here. Now along here, one of these dips, I think maybe a little further up, is where my friend Chad saw the mountain lion. Now up here is another turnoff, but it's not. I guess I went by the one I was looking for, the one that was called Closed Canyon. This one over here, what's it called? I've forgotten what it was called. The sign's facing the other direction. But we're sort of getting near the end. Now up here on the right, you're going to see the quote-unquote windmill. Well, it's kind of defunct now. All it is a steel structure with no windmill on the top. And this used to be another big landmark that people would measure back from as to where they got their gray band. It may be a couple more hills over. I'm going to speed up a little bit so we don't have to do all this in the dark in a minute if I'm not careful. But that, like I say, was a landmark. Most people, I don't think, go quite this far. I don't generally. Up here is Tabido, I think that's how you pronounce it. River Bridge, which is where most people turn around. Let's see what it says here. Oh, you can't really read it. Huh. T-A-P-A-D-O Bridge. This is sort of the last, one of the last landmarks. And up here on the right, if we can still see it, I don't know if we can, because of the light, the windmill, which I say like I say, has fallen down, and only the steel structure still stands. And am I going to see it up here? I think so. All I've ever seen out this way was suboxes and atroxes. A little plateau with, you know, the rocky cliff sides on the right side. And then in a few minutes after that, on the left side, you'll see the very first farm. A fence from the very first farm from the little town of Rutherford, I guess it is. I guess beyond that will be the town of Presidio, which is on most maps. Rutherford may or may not be on the map, but Presidio should be. And again, I don't usually come out this far. Sometimes when I do, I see more wildlife because the river is just 100 yards, you know, to the left over there. And they all have to come down. The animals all come down, you know, in the evening, you know, and drink after. There's the windmill. I'm going to slow down and see if I can turn into it so you can sort of see it. There's also a little structure there. Yeah, there's the last of the windmill. And then if I go up here slowly, there's a little structure. I don't know if it used to be a house or what it was. I'm going to back up. There it is. I'm going to change lighting here for a second. Let me see if this helps any. Oh, maybe. And there's my big floodlights, which I think do not help. I'm going to back up a little bit. Yeah, they don't help at all. I'm going to turn them off and put the other bright lights on. Anyway, there's the where the windmill used to be, and the little, looks like a little jail building there now. I'm in the middle of the road, which I shouldn't be, but I haven't seen anybody, and I doubt I will. And there's the little house. So we'll go a little bit further and look at some of these dips up here, which is where Chad saw the mountain lion earlier in the evening. Let's see what we got up here. Yeah, it'll be up here on the left, and it may be several dips up here, but you can see these dips here are sort of like a little wash, a little you'll see them coming up here, kind of a wash. People say that's where the gray bands kind of congregate. They get down into the washes and then go down them rather than up the sides. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's sort of what they say. And like I say, all I've seen along here were the Transfecos rat snakes, the subox, and the Atroxus, Western Diamondback rattlesnake. Here's one of the dips here. Several little dips, little washes. I suspect when they get a moderate amount of rain that those washes become pretty busy, pretty deep, pretty quick. And our sun is just setting up here, so to see. Yeah, I'm surprised we've not seen a rattlesnake along here. Up there in the distance on the left, you can see the outline of the town of Presidio. And I'd been there a couple times, and each time I came through, it looked like nothing but trouble to me. I came over here because there was a storm up by Alpine, and I couldn't get any gas. And I had to come all the way over here to fill up my tank. And that's why whenever I leave to come out here on the river road, I always fill up. Always, always, always. I top off my tank every time. even though I only empty it, maybe half a tank on a long night. I want to keep it filled up, so if there's a storm and there's no power, then I can still, have gas in my tank. Now where are we here? We should be just about to the little. You'll see a fenced-off area on the left very shortly. And that's sort of the beginning of the outskirts of Rutherford, or however they pronounce it. I think, is it right up here? Maybe there's one more dip to go. But these dips get pretty deep. You can see they really, you'll see here another one. There's some of them that are all of a sudden real sharp. But these are sort of like washes from the hills. Yeah, some of them are deeper than others, and I'm surprised that I've not seen any rattlesnakes. I'm really surprised. Let's see what we've got up here. Let's see. Yeah, these dips get deeper and deeper. I'm not seeing the fence quite yet. If I go too quickly, I'm now going 45 miles an hour. And there's a flood gauge sign that tells me that when they get rain, those things get flooded out. Yeah, up here on the immediate left now, you can see the fences and the little community. So this is sort of the end of the river road. I'm going to turn around right up here. If I go too far up here and turn around, then I get a visit from the local border patrol, which I got last night for the first time since I've been here, which is odd. Usually once they see this truck that's covered and new and with California license plates, that's usually a dead ringer. And there's a little house. Someone lives there, no doubt, and the fence. So that's sort of the end. Maybe I'll just run a little bit. I'm wondering how warm it's getting. Since it's being held in the air, maybe it's not going to get too warm too fast. And again, I'm hopeful that we'll see a rattlesnake along here that I can convince to smile for the camera. And even though we were just along here not even 5 minutes ago, I've done that little turn like I did, turned around and hit the same area. A minute later, there was a rattlesnake right in the middle of the road that looks as if it'd been there for hours. And the moral of the story with that is that as you cruise this road, it may get busy with other snake hunters. Every 3 minutes, 2 minutes, it's a whole other world. Something can come out of the road in seconds that wasn't there, just a minute beforehand. I turned around back there one time and did a quicker U-turn than that, and wasn't even a minute. There was a great big Atrox right in the middle of the road. Looks as if he'd been there for hours. All coiled up right in the middle, ready to do battle with anybody who chose to do so with him. But I know he'd only been there for seconds because I was just there. So I'm speeding up a little bit. There's something there, I don't know what. Speeding up a little bit to cover more ground. Let's see what we see up here, if anything. I'm going to try different lighting situations. There's my driving lights. There's the bright lights. There's the regular lights with my special lights, which, other than the dip sign, they're kind of aimed funny. I don't know if it's better or worse. I guess if I would go out and adjust them for the 17th time, they might be a little better, but if I'm really watching for snakes, they're probably better than for filming with the iPad. But I don't really want to adjust them again. So maybe for a little while at least, I'll go back to my regular brights. Well, I don't know if that's better or not. see. If we go back to the regular lights and turn off the brights. No, let's not do that. If we go to the regular lights and turn off the... Is that better? I don't know. If I get in the middle of the road, it would be better. And I can sort of see up ahead, but you can get some cowboys who know this road like the back of their hands. They've been driving it for every day for the last 35 years. Come flying over these ridges, so it's still only 9:30. I better stay in my own lane, at least for now. But maybe I'll put the other lights on and see if it's not too ugly here. Yeah, it's a little iffy. But I don't really want to change them. I guess if they're far enough out, it works okay. It's when they're real close up. And so if I see something along here, I'm going to come to a halt as quick as possible and then run out there. Unless I passed it up, in which case I'll have to either do a U-turn or run back there and bring whatever I find forward. If I'm going slow enough, then I won't have passed it, which is the ideal. Some of these dips. But again, this is not ideal gray band country, but it's probably pretty good for rattlesnakes. Or maybe a tarantula, maybe a black-tailed rattlesnake, maybe a subox. When you see me turn sharply like that, it means I'm seeing something up on the road that looks like it needs further investigation. And some of these things on the road have been fooling me for years. I always think that I'll bring a can of spray paint with me and spray paint a big orange circle around it so I know that that's not something of interest. And there's a few of them I actually have memorized. But as it gets later in the evening, I get more tired, I forget about them, and then have to slow down and go, oh yeah, it's that glob of concrete on the pavement I know that is up here, or whatever. There are several spots that I know that are long time foolers. So, well, I'm glad we did that. Something there, I don't know what. Got to do the river road with the daylight, because now, as you can see, we're only being able to illuminate the road for the most part, and not getting really any of the surrounding area. And like I say, this is the dark of the moon, so we're going to have, it's going to be as dark a night tonight as any for a month. Well, 15 days from now and 15 days in the past. I think that's right. Again, I keep thinking that we'll see a rattlesnake, because this is the time you see them, and this is the place you see them. Other than Fresno Flats up here, this is probably one of the better areas, as far as I'm concerned, for seeing rattlesnakes. And here comes the Tabano Bridge now. It'd be nice if it wasn't blown out so you could see the sign, but it looks as if it's pretty well blown out. And the resolution's no good. So I'm going to speed up a little bit here. I'm trying to watch and make sure I don't run over anything. The night that I found my gray band, another guy, a guy who lives down here, Daryl Ebby, who has rental property, or I guess his family does down here in the Big Bend area, who's a snake hunter. Nice guy. Nice guy. I was going westbound, the opposite direction I'm going now. He was going the direction I'm going now, a ways up. And he was starting to pull over. And as he slowed down to pull over right in the tire lane, he saw a little bitty, and we're talking tiny, like 10 inches or less, angulata Mexican milk snake. Really pretty, really gorgeous, just bright as bright could be red, with little bands. The thing's only, like I say, 10 inches long. He said if he hadn't been slowing down to turn into this little turn area, like I say, it's like right here, just to turn around or for whatever reason, he never would have seen it. probably would have run over it and never even known it. So that was sort of a wake-up call for me. You know, I talked to him for a while and got some video of it and still pictures of it and talked to him. I knew of him, but I hadn't really met him. So it was kind of a nice intro. I took some pictures with his camera, with him and his kid. I took some pictures of him and his kid with my camera, and just got to know him a little bit. But it was a wake-up call for me to slow down. And when I left him and proceeded in the lane I'm in now, in the far left of the other lane is where I saw my gray band. If I hadn't been going 20 or 25 miles an hour, I don't think I would have seen it. It was going right along the edge, right next to the grass and the black of the pavement. And my little gray band's pretty dark in color. He's not a beautiful screamer like I saw another guy got a few days later. And I wish I had that one. The other guy had was just so gorgeous. It was just unbelievable. But if I had been going, much faster, I'm now going 30 miles an hour. If I'd been going much faster than this, I'm not sure I would have seen it. So I always try to remember to slow down, but on the other hand, the faster you go, the more territory you can cover. So, it's a philosophical argument. Slow down and see everything, or go a little faster and see more territory, but only see 80% of what's out there. So I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer to that question, but that's the philosophical debate. Okay, probably ought to turn this little video we've got going here for, it's 57 minutes. Wow. Off. I'm afraid I'm going to use up all my hard drive space. I don't know how much this iPad's got. I'd like to leave it on and continue with the commentary, but I'm afraid I'll use up my hard drive space, and I was very grateful I was able to get as much video on there while we had daylight. But again, I keep thinking that we'll see a rattlesnake or something in the road up here, but it's not happening. So I don't know. I imagine as soon as I turn this iPad off, there's one going to pop up there. It takes me probably 10 seconds to get the iPad turned on, the camera application on, and then the video on. And at that time I could, run up and snare the snake if it's worth snaring. So I keep thinking I'll leave it on for a little bit longer and we'll see something. And maybe we'll do that. I don't know. Looking at the I'm really driving, looking out the windshield rather than at the iPad, because the iPad is pretty harsh. I'm not seeing as much of a picture as I could and would with the windshield. Well, I don't know, maybe not. So like I say, I keep thinking I'll see a snake up here I can give you a commentary on, provided it's not a possible gray band sighting. But they say they're really found not this far out. Here's that big puddle, which wasn't here last night. Coronado Canyon River access. If you drive out there, like I did last year, there's for lack of a better term, a little beach area, a big sandy area, which is why I don't really want to drive out there and get stuck. But people put in and take out their boats there, or kayaks or canoes and the like. And there's a big wide area where apparently it looks like people swim, but I'm not sure about safety of swimming there, and there's nobody around. If you had any problem, you'd be in a hard place. But I do see people putting their boats, kayaks, canoes, in the water there. Here's West Rancheros, and maybe I'm gonna pull in here. I don't pass it like I did last time to the closed canyon, which is where I want to set up this bug light. Kind of a pain to do, but I'm hopeful I can just set it up and then leave it, and then periodically check it. Because it's a little hard, cruising for snakes and trying to do Dave's bug thing at the same time. But I guess if I just set up the bug light with this power supply and just leave it there, and I think it'll probably be pretty safe. And just check it every time, or every few times I come by, just drive by and stare at it, so I can see how it's looking and what I'm collecting. And right along here is where I keep seeing this tarantula the last couple of nights. But this is also getting into good gray band territory, and it's the right time of the evening to be doing it, and it may not be too late again for western diamondback rattlesnakes. Again, you usually see them, not always, but usually in the earlier evening and earlier morning, i.e., when you're getting like at 5 o'clock in the morning, I hopefully am nearer to bed than I am now. But my friend Aaron tells me that they find the majority of gray bands between dark, which is just about now, which is 9:45, and midnight. And right along here is the prime area. Maybe a little closer to the bottom of the big hill. We've had a good breeze, and we've had a good breeze since sunset, so let's keep our fingers crossed, kids. Now if you see me pull a screaming halt and race out of the car, and then I'm thinking I'm seeing something that needs my immediate attention. And if it should be the ever desirable gray bands, you'll see me do that. What do they call it? The gray band dance out here on the highway, which is, I guess, anything that you want to do. But I'm also a little bit weary of spending too much time out there, because when I got mine, almost 2 weeks ago, I raced back to the car and put it in the bag and put it securely behind the seat. So if anybody should come along, that no one was going to take it away from me, i.e. the evil Texas Parks and Wildlife game wardens. Well, I don't think I saw anything there. Maybe I should slow down. I thought there was something in the other lane back there. I should probably get more toward the middle now, because I can probably see people coming from a good ways off in these flat areas along here, and I think it's just a matter of time before we see a subox or I don't know, something, even a glossy snake or a night snake or something. So we'll see. This video has now been going for 1 hour and 4 minutes. I keep looking up at it and seeing that the little red light is still blinking, which means that we're still filming. So again, I'm hopeful that I'll see something up here. I don't know why, but for some reason I keep, and this was true last night too, keep looking in the opposite lane on the far edge, which is why that one headlight is pretty much aimed in that direction. Maybe because that's where I saw mine. I don't know. And I'm trying to watch here. I'm driving, looking out the windshield from the middle of the windshield. You know, it's almost the passenger side, because the iPad is right smack dab in the middle. I may switch around and see if I can see from that side as well, or almost as well, while we're going in, at least while we're going in an easterly direction. Yeah, I don't know if it's any better on this side looking or not. Probably not. And if I lean to the passenger side, I can put my elbow on the glove box that's in the middle between the passenger and the driver's side. But the way you see the picture now is largely, when I'm driving at night, what you're seeing. I don't usually have the luxury of daylight. If I'm going slow enough, that means I will not have passed what I'm seeing up at the beginning of my headlights. Because if you go by too fast, then you go by it, and you have to either run back in the dark with your flashlight. Speaking of which, I better get my flashlights out here. I'm going to slow down here so I can reach in my box and pull out my flashlights of choice. Sorry about that. Flashlights of choice here. Depending on which ones. I've got 4 of them. So I always keep at least one clipped to my t-shirt around my neck. I keep one, probably my new one I bought at the Snake Days Fair, which I like a lot. I can adjust the beam. I'm going to stop here a minute. Put it on here. Whoop. And we still got good grass movement, which is nice. So I've got one clip to my t-shirt around my neck, bandana, and I'm going to grab my really good one and put it in my pocket, which I usually do this before now. So if I had to get out and run backwards, I'd have to be digging for a light, which is not what you want to be doing. So I'm putting my new best good one in my right hip pocket. And I guess I'll leave the wide one that I got, like I got one for Peter with. This got, I don't know how many little LEDs in it. Which is makes a whiter, softer beam. So sometimes I like that one, and sometimes I like the new one I've got. I'm going to keep rolling up here because that's the name of the game, is covering real estate. And when I finish this root beer that I've got, that I bought at the in the ghost town at the Terlingua store, then I'll get rid of the root beer out of a little cup holder, and I'll put the big flashlight probably in there. But I've always got 2 on me, one around my neck and one in my pocket. And I've got one in my hand, and I've got my snake hook sort of back here, but I'm always a little weary about having it out, because until I have the snake hook out, I can claim, and rightfully so, that I'm looking for insects, which is true. I've got the kill jars in the back and the like. But if you're out there with a snake bag, you know, in one hand, and a snake hook on the other, it's a little bit hard to argue that you're looking for insects. And now, yeah, I still have a snake bag, a cotton snake. There's the thing I always think is a snake that we just roll past, a little blob of concrete on the pavement. I've got a cotton snake bag in my back pocket. My other snake bag that is nylon that rides up over my head here in the car. I've got filled with Trans-Pecos rat snakes, some of which are for Shannon and some of which are for Tommy Hardaway, who's coming on Friday to meet up with me. He's going to bring his wife out, and we're going to barbecue and go to the park one day, probably Saturday. And he wanted some, so I've got some for him, and those that he doesn't want, Shannon says that he wants. I've also got that big bull snake that I got up on Juneau Road that's, I thought, hopeful, and really thought, was a female, that I had my friend Chad look at, and he thinks it's a male, which is a bummer. That had been road hit. It seems to be okay. It was bleeding from its mouth, but now it seems to be okay. When I reach in there, it coils around my hand, and so it's not on its deathbed, shall we say, by any means. It's in one of my nice silk-like big snake bags, and the 5 or 6 or more, I don't even know how many are in there now, sub-boxes are in the other big silk-like, it's parachute material is what it is, nylon snake bag. I've only got 2 of those, and they're both occupied. So that just leaves me with my cotton bags, which are okay, but one of them I had a sub-box in that I got when I was out here initially with Barry, and a little beggar got out. And I looked closely at the bag, and sure enough, there was a hole right in the bag. So I try to look at the bags carefully and see that there aren't any holes in them. And the nylon ones I know are good. I think they're good. The cotton ones I think are good, but I'm not so sure about them as I am the others. Oh, I can't believe we haven't seen anything. I really hope it's not going to be another repeat of last night, which was terrible. It's like, what did I see all night? I think I saw 2 sub-boxes all night, which is just worse than terrible. Of course, if I'd known that, I would have stayed home and slept, but, you don't know. You aren't going to find any gray beds in your bed, so you have to come on out here and do it. But the condition should be good. It's dark of the moon. We got a good breeze, good steady breeze. So I don't know. Now it rained again, so I don't know if that keeps them in, or I guess what you want is you want the barometric pressure to do something drastic. In other words, as if it's going to rain or going to be a big change in weather. That seems to make things move. And between Terlingua and Lajitas, which is 17 miles, in there it did rain. The pavement was wet. And we did see that puddle back there. So to make that puddle like it was, it had to have rained, I guess, like I say, hard for just a little while, or light for a long while. I don't know which. But the pavement here doesn't seem to be wet, so it may have just come zipping through here just enough to make everything wet. And I don't know, that means stuff doesn't move. The last 3 days have been terrible. And this is Wednesday night, so I got tomorrow night. And then Friday and Saturday, but I'm a little weary because I know on Saturday nights, at least the last 2 of them anyway, the last one is when the guy got the ticket. I can't believe they did this. The game wardens put out I thought it was a rubber snake, but apparently it was a frozen snake. They put it out in the road. Some guy drove by and either slowed down or shined his flashlight on it or got out of the car and looked at it, and the game wardens jumped out of the bushes and gave him a ticket. I can't believe they did this. This is just, they must have better things to do than harass the snake hunters, but apparently not. I don't know what their problem is. And that was on Saturday night, which they figure probably is going to bring more people down. So I'm not enthusiastic about cruising on Saturday night as I am about other nights. But we'll see. It's also when Tommy's going to be here with his wife, so I may hang with them a little bit. And I just now realized I didn't stop and set up the bug light. Where are we now? We should be getting just to the bottom of the big hill. And we've not seen nothing. Not so much as a glossy snake, not so much as a tarantula. Well, I think I'm going to turn off this this iPad up here when we get to the turnaround spot here. But all right along here is ground zero for gray bands. Here's the turnaround spot as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, that's the river wash down there. And 2 days when I was here, this little wash you see up ahead of us, right down there, well, you can't really see it because it's in front of the car. The silt that had collected from roaring or coming down the big hill, up over here, up. I'll show you. Make sure I don't back up into a gully here. Up the hill up there, let's see if I can get enough around. Yeah, up the hill up there to the left was filled with silt. Yeah, on the left. That was still quite damp, and that told me that it rained there. Now I should probably go over and check this now. But I'm going to turn this video off for now. It's been on for an hour and 17 minutes. I don't know how much video I get on this thing, how big the hard drive is. But I'm going to save what's left, I think. So when I find something and I have something by me, I can turn it on and then sort of give you a little commentary about whatever snake I see or catch. Okay, that's it. Bye.